Welcome to the AMP Setup Guide. Before you begin the setup, make sure there is at least 8½ inches of ground clearance and a minimum of a ½ inch front to rear seat height drop. Check to make sure the front casters are at least 5 inches or taller. Check the ground clearance to the lowest part of the frame and measure the front and rear seat height to ensure the chair has at least ½ inch front to rear seat height drop. Step 1. Confirm or adjust wheelchair ground clearance. Here is where we measure the ground clearance. Ground clearance must be 1/2 inch when the wheelchair is docked on the AMP. An easy way to check this is to place a wheel in the catches and measure the ground clearance. If the wheel is too low to the ground or too high, the wheel catch must be adjusted. To make this adjustment, the wheel catch assemblies will need to be disassembled using a metric Allen wrench. To raise the wheelchair wheel, move the custom nut over by one opening position towards the flat edge of the catch receiver. Each position in the scalloped opening will lift the wheelchair wheel about 3/16 of an inch. Tech tip. The round ends are always positioned to the outside of the AMP, and the recessed areas are always located at the top. Make sure the protruding stop bolt head is inside the recessed part of the catch receiver. Replace the flat head fastener and line up the threads with the custom nut. Use the metric Allen wrench to tighten the assembly. Make sure the fastener is secure. When complete, repeat with the remaining 3 catch assemblies, making sure all 4 catch assemblies are adjusted in the same manner. Step 2. Adjust the wheel catch width to fit the chair. There are 3 different sized spacers to choose from. The catch assemblies adjust for width here. Center the wheelchair and back into the AMP. Leave about 1/4 inch gap inside the catch using the small spacer as a measurement tool. Choose a spacer closest to the gap size between the catch assembly and outrigger. Slide the chosen spacers on and repeat for all 4 catches. Step 3. Secure the wheel catches. Replace the fasteners on the top and bottom with a metric Allen wrench, but do not over-tighten. Step 4. Confirm the anti-tip position. The wheelchair's anti-tips are used in the upside-down position while docked with the AMP. For some chairs, this will require adjustment of the anti-tip receivers. When adjusted, the anti-tip should only allow a slight amount of wheelchair rotation before the anti-tip impacts the AMP anti-tip bar. Some chairs will require the anti-tip bracket to be removed and repositioned to be changed. Step 5. Adjust anti-tip bar width. Make sure the AMP anti-tip bar stop is wide enough by loosening the inside clamp with a metric Allen wrench and move the assembly so the anti-tip is not hitting metal to metal. Be careful not to protrude into the wheel spokes. Tighten the inside clamp and repeat the process on the other side. Step 6. Install the joystick clamp. Remove the armrest assembly from the chair and remove the armrest pad. If there are already holes in the armrest rail, drill them out to fit the fasteners if needed. If there are no holes, you'll have to use the armrest clamp to measure and mark hole positions, then drill holes as needed. When ready, insert the fasteners, tighten and replace the armrest pad. Step 7. Plug in the battery and test drive the AMP. Move the connector receiver cover plug. Open up the AMP lid from the front and insert the battery. Connect the power lead and battery lead together, making sure they are snugly pushed together and it's not obstructing the lid. Push the lid down, making sure it snaps into place. Open the AMP for roll-on access by pulling up on the release lever and back the wheelchair into the AMP until it locks in place. Locate the magnet connector stowage clip on the wheelchair in an accessible place. Install the swing-away joystick assembly and tighten the joystick clamp. Route the joystick cable. Locate the magnetic connector into the AMP power socket and use the provided hook and loop cable tie to secure the cable to the chair. The AMP setup is complete. Double check to ensure proper wheel ground clearance. Also check to make sure no part of the wheelchair can come into contact with the AMP wheel motors. Power on the joystick and wait 2 seconds before moving the AMP joystick. The AMP is now ready to be used.